Okay. So, I'm sitting here with the lovely Ruth Franco. And Ruth, today I want to ask you a little bit about your journey to becoming a psychologist in Finland. So what year did you arrive here?
I arrived in 2004.
Wow, okay.
So it's going to be now 20 years.
Flippin' heck. Okay. So Ruth, you are a real pioneer.
Yes,
you get the cap.
There were not many others at the beginning.
Wow. Okay. So when you first got here, did you know much about Valvira and the process of getting your qualifications recognised?
I had no clue whatsoever.
Oh wow.
I think I was quite young.
Right.
And I live in some fantasy that I'm going to move to Finland and then things are going to flow easily. I had just graduated.
Right.
Well, I work already as a clinician in Spain for 2 years. And that was great because that was helpful later.
Okay, so your qualification is in Spain is a clinical psychologist.
Psychologist, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you just started your career in Spain, and then you moved here.
Then I moved. Yes,
okay.
And then I assumed that I had to do registration, and straight after I can start working.
Okay.
But
what happened?
It happened that it took 3 years.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
Before I got registration from Valvira.
Why did it take that long?
It was, I think there was not a very clear procedure at the time.
Right.
I believe it has gotten better now. Or at least there is a path that people can follow. And at that time it was very much like going back and forward.
Right.
So nobody really knew what to do with me. There were mainly 2 issues at the time. Language was not a problem at the time, so it was not a requirement to get registration. But there were other potential problems, the amount of practice that you need to do before you have graduated and after, because I had been working for 2 years, that was not a problem. But the problem was what they call here grado.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that you need to write before you graduate.
So this is your thesis.
Exactly. Yeah. And we don't have that as a requirement for graduation in Spain. So then they told me that I need to write a grado if I want to get the registration.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I will write a grado.
Wait, let's just take a pause. So you'd come into this feeling quite hopeful. I'm just going to get my license. How did it feel to get this news?
It was quite frustrating.
Yeah.
I got a lot of help from my partner at the time. That was the reason why I came. Mm-hmm. That helped. That Finnish-speaking person, as we know.
Right. So he helped you to navigate.
Yes, to navigate the system. But then I was, of course, myself having meetings with the university, going there, talking to them, because from Valvira they gave me this instruction that, they gave me the instruction that you should go to the university and they will tell you what to do.
Go to the uni?
Yes. And then I went to the university and they say, okay, you could write a grado and that will help. I say, okay.
Right.
But then they told me I need to join the university as if I was a first-year student.
First-year psychology student?
Yes. So the problem was they allow me to write in English. They told me you can write the grado in English, that's no problem. But in order to get into the university, you had to speak Finnish or Swedish. So there was really like a dead end.
Oh, good God.
Yes.
What was that like to get that?
That was...
bombshell.
I complained.
Right.
I said that this makes no sense.
Right.
Then they told me, maybe you can go to Spain and write the grado there and then come back. I said, but there is no grado in Spain. I have graduated already.
Right.
In Spain, I can do a PhD, but I cannot do undergraduate work anymore. So that was very frustrating. And now I'm giving you a summary.
Right.
But maybe 2 years passed to get this information from different places.
Oh my God. So what were you? Were you working? How were you? No.
At that time I was studying Finnish. I decided that, okay, in this waiting period, I could get into the integration program and dedicate the time to study Finnish.
Right.
So I was just lucky that I could do that. Otherwise, I would have just needed to go to work in whatever, any other job or any other profession.
Wow. So then you felt like it was a dead end, but you were learning Finnish.
Yes, I was learning Finnish, but that, as you probably know, is not a very easy easy task. It's not that it's not gonna make your days full of happiness and inspiration. So there was frustration coming from different areas of life. So that was not easy at all.
Oh my gosh.
And at the same time being separated from my profession, from my colleagues. I couldn't get to know new colleagues because I didn't even know where to go when I was not yet an official psychologist here.
So these psychologists and colleagues were sort of like they were kind of like a dream. There were some people in the clouds that you didn't know.
I did contact the union, the psicologa, but they told me that they couldn't do anything for me before I would get registration.
Gosh. How was that period when you was just sort of trying to learn Finnish and waiting? Like waiting. How were you feeling?
It was very busy on the one hand, so that you want to try, you want to learn the language, you go to the classes, you do the homework.
Right.
So on the one hand, you are trying to do all those things, and then these issues with the registration, trying to resolve this problem.
Right.
On the other hand, it's like if you had gone back, I don't know, 20 years in your life.
Yeah.
Or not 20, because I was maybe 26 or when I came, but it's like if you were a teenager again.
Yeah.
That your life is like you sit there in a class for 5 hours and then you take coffee with your friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was very strange.
So like a step backwards.
Yes. Like, totally. That was very strange.
When in Spain you would have really been getting on with your career.
Yes, exactly. I have been already working, meeting clients, very challenging situations.
Right.
Yes, demanding work. So I would have like hope for just continuing with my career after I came.
So it was a pause.
Yes. It was really a pause.
So then eventually, did you get into Helsinki University to do this gradu?
No.
Oh, okay. What happened?
No, because they didn't allow me. They told me that if you don't speak Finnish or Swedish at level 5,
my God,
levels went from 1 to 6. So if you don't speak at level 5, we cannot allow you in. So then it was, okay, another round of contacting Valvira and say, okay, we need to find a solution to this, what else I could do.
Right.
Because I'm not going to be level 5. I don't think I'm level 5 now, after 20
After
years.
20 years. Okay. You'd still be, oh my God.
So I would still be waiting.
Yes.
If that was the requirement.
Oh my God.
Finally, Valvira decided to take my case to Psychonet.
Okay. Well, that was quite generous of them.
That was the solution to the problem, because they asked me that, okay, you don't need to write a gradu in Spain, but probably you have written other kinds of things, assignments during your studies, and I said that yes, I have those, and I studied 1 year in England, so some of those are in English.
Right.
So then they asked me to bring, and I brought like huge amount
piles of academic writing
of material.
Yeah.
And after that, Psychonet decided that that's enough. So
how did that feel to get that?
That was such a relief, but after 3 years, it's like you cannot believe it.
Yeah. So how? I guess after 3 years of that kind of sort of drudgery. It feels like drudgery. How were you?
Yes, I was to some extent exhausted probably, but also ready, also really wanting to move on, to start like this new period. And I remember the day when there was somebody that knew somebody in the group, and they told me that, okay, your case has been resolved, and I couldn't believe it. And then I got like informed officially that was the case. And then I remember this moment of writing the Psychologilito and saying, okay, now I'm officially like registered, and
here I am.
Yes.
So after that joyful moment and getting your license, what happened then?
After that, I created a toiminimi.
Yes.
And I started to meet clients.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I guess you got a lot of immigrant clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mostly.
Yes, mostly. Mostly I work in English and in Spanish.
Right.
So Spanish-speaking clients from Spain or from Spanish-speaking countries, and English speakers from all over the world, maybe native speakers, or maybe other people that just use English as the second best.
The second best.
The second best that we can do.
What was that? Because I guess at that point did you start meeting other psychologists?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think that was the moment when I started to explore a little bit more, and explore organizations or groups of psychologists, like Psychologists for Social Responsibility.
Right.
So I joined some of their meetings, and
you networked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. At that point, it was networking, and I think the threshold is, these were all like really nice, really inclusive groups, but nevertheless it's very stressful as a migrant, because of course meetings are going to be mainly in Finnish. You don't really understand at the beginning very much.
Yeah.
So
I know that feeling, sitting in a meeting and going, I'm kind of understanding maybe 30% of what's going on here.
Yes.
I maybe would like to ask a question, but I'm not sure.
But I'm not sure. Maybe somebody already asked the same thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of feeling.
Yeah. What is that feeling? It's kind of, how does it feel to be like that? It's for you.
Yes, it's a mix of uncertainty, maybe shame gets triggered relatively easily, because you fear maybe I'm going to make a mistake, maybe somebody just explained the same thing, so I think very easily I would go into like withdrawal, like I don't say anything, I don't participate, but it really cuts such a big part of you.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. And as I said, these were like really nice and supportive groups.
Of course.
Yes.
But it's a sort of and when that part of you is cut for a long time, what ends up happening?
I think there is loneliness. Yes. I think there is sadness. There is a part of you that somehow becomes like smaller.
Yes.
And it takes time there to heal that part and to empower yourself. Yes. So
at that period, how was it for you to support clients who were going through similar things?
Through the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. in many ways, through the same thing. So I think it takes a lot of personal work. So I think it's good for psychologists to understand that they need to work also with themselves with whatever tools or support that they have available, because the client situation might be personally triggering also. So that on one hand that can happen. On the other hand, if you are doing that, you are in a good position to support your client, because they feel really understood. And sometimes the clients themselves, they also talk about it. They say, you might know what I'm experiencing, what I'm going through. I'm like, yes, I totally get you.
And I think in our work that can be actually very powerful, and it can be really I know with my own clients that they're like, oh God, yeah, this person really does know.
Yes,
this stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that makes a difference
Yeah.
for clients. They really appreciate that we can have that sensitivity and that understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
That they don't need to explain everything.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. So I think before I ask you about, well, actually, let's ask you a little bit about other foreign professionals along the journey.
Yes.
When did you start meeting others like you, like us?
You mean like migrants?
Yes, other migrants.
Other migrants?
Yes.
That probably took much longer.
Right, yeah.
Yes, I think that took much longer, really. I met our colleague Annabelle.
Yes.
At some
And
point.
we met, didn't we, at Contextia?
Yes, we met
Yes.
at Contextia, but that was, I would say, much later, because
Yeah.
Annabelle and me met really many years ago.
Yes.
Before she went back to
Yes.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
there were these, and then Therese contacted you as well.
Yes, also
Okay.
that. So there was some hope that there are other people in this
Yes.
situation, because for years I
Yes.
didn't know anybody
Yes.
who was in the same situation.
And what was it? How did it feel to meet other people who were in this similar situation, meeting this kind of wall?
It gave hope, it gave happiness.
Yes. Yes. I think you gave me a lot of hope when I first met you, because I think you'd already started the psychotherapy training
Yes.
in your activascular, and I was like, oh my God, she's doing it. I was really like, well, okay, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember telling you, definitely do it.
Yes.
Definitely do it, and you can do it in Swedish, and
Yeah.
there is such a need also for that service that it's gonna go well.
Thank you, Ruth. So what about you with what made you decide to do the psychotherapy training? In Finnish.
In
Let's
Finnish.
Just make that very clear.
In Finnish.
In Finnish.
To be honest with you, I didn't understand the impact or the that it would have.
Okay.
So
did you went into it a bit
yes.
blindly?
I went into it from the perspective of, I'm a migrant.
Right.
I don't have, so I have not studied here. I don't have, like, as other people, like colleagues that we spend years together at university.
Right.
So what would be a way to get something like that?
Right.
Like more network experiences together, knowledge.
Right.
So that was mainly from where I started to consider doing
Right.
psychotherapy training.
For networking and growing and
Yes.
Okay.
And creating network also.
Right.
Networking with Finnish professionals to understand a little bit better.
Right.
Also cultural differences, how work is done here.
Right.
So that was mainly my approach.
Yeah.
I understood, of course, that then my clients could get Kela reimbursement, which was a good thing.
Yes.
But I didn't understand to which point is a good thing.
Okay.
So that was not. I didn't understand the system completely.
Oh, okay. So what? Okay. Okay. So what did that mean?
Yes, it meant that there are very few migrant professionals that have this qualification.
Right.
So there are very few people that can provide the service.
Right.
And there are many migrants in need of
Right.
this service.
So does that mean you've been swamped?
Yes, that means that I'm like fully booked completely, which is, well, from work perspective, of course, is a good thing. But on the other hand, it shows that really more professionals with a migrant background should be incorporated into the system
Right.
one way or another, because the need is so huge.
Right. How does it feel for you then to have to turn people away?
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful every time, yes. And I have gotten to a point in which I don't even manage to reply to emails, which
Right.
is even more awful.
Yeah.
It's really like sad, the situation, because now just the management of my clients takes all my time and energy.
Right.
So I try to send like a short email saying I don't have availability, and
maybe here are some other ideas.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I give some links, that services that people can explore,
Right.
like the Kela pages and the Mindu pages,
Right.
so that then people at least can try somewhere else.
Right.
But it's so much that I don't always manage, and I think that's an awful feeling. Really, it's dreadful.
Yeah, not being able to get to everyone.
Exactly.
Even just to say,
exactly.
I can't do this right now.
Even just to provide some alternative, give some guidance, even if you couldn't, like the client, and knowing that it's going to be very difficult for the person.
Yeah.
Because if I would think that, okay, I don't reply, but well, this person is going to try somewhere else and it's going to get help immediately. But I know that's not the case,
not
really.
Necessarily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very hard to turn people away when you know that there might not be an alternative.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some clients, when they have contacted me, they have said it. They have said that you are the last person I'm gonna try, because I have tried with many professionals. Everybody, either they didn't reply or they say no.
Right.
So,
gosh, that's a heavy load, and I think it's also, it's not just about migrant psychotherapists, but it's psychotherapists as a profession in general in Finland.
Yes.
This is enough.
Exactly. This is exactly the same for the Finnish clients. There have been a lot of news about this in the media and discussions in the psychotherapist groups.
Right.
That it is not enough, like the amount of professionals like they are working. But if it's like that, like for Finnish clients, you can imagine what it is for migrant clients.
Yeah.
They are few professionals that can provide the service, especially if people have some language requirement.
Yeah.
So there are Finnish psychotherapists that work in English, although many don't want to do therapy in English.
Right.
Some do.
Gosh. Yeah.
Yes, but if the person needs some other language, Spanish or German, or so.
Yeah.
There are very few.
Very few.
Yes.
There are very few. I think we're going to move on now, and I'd like to know how it felt for you when this sort of momentum with meeting more migrant psychologists and psychotherapists, and then the eventual formation of PPF. How did that feel?
Empowering.
Yeah.
That was really such a change in the scene that we had.
Right.
So I think it has made such a big change for so many of us.
Yeah.
Then that we have felt that we can, not only we are not alone anymore, but we have a projection that we can do things. We can grow, and we have seen the difference.
Yes.
Now we are invited to events.
Yes.
Now people count on us much more, and they want us to be in certain places and talk about certain topics. So we see that it really makes a difference.
Yes,
that when you are just alone, it's like you don't exist.
Yeah, you're just a little piece of dust in the system.
Yes.
It does. How does it feel for you in terms of sort of, I guess, being able to have supervision with other migrants?
Yes.
How is that for you?
Yes. We have a amazing supervision, peer supervision group, and that has provided so many possibilities for development.
Right.
I feel that my clinical skills have gotten better.
Right.
Thank you to the group.
Right.
Because we get to discuss in a language that we all understand, which is in English, but we are trained in different parts of the world, so we provide certain different ideas and approaches. So it has been enormously enriching for me, and I'm really grateful to the group.
Yeah, and I think there's something else about different knowledge, having sort of different knowledge about the Finnish system as well, and how to negotiate that and learning that from each other. Exactly.
And we have shared a lot of contacts, also knowledge about Finnish doctors, Finnish psychiatrists that we know that, okay, they are receptive to our clients.
Yes, exactly. This person will be nice.
Yes. Yeah. So we are really trying to provide more options for our clients that need to navigate the system. I think if I think about my clients, a lot of what I do is helping them to navigate the system.
Right. Yes.
Apart from the therapy work that we have to do, there is this other layer of giving them information when they need to contact Kela, the TE-toimisto, and the health services in order to progress.
Yes, it's very true, and I think that developing the PPF website has been really important for that too. That that information is out there.
Yes,
and we kind of give immigrants an idea of how to negotiate the system, which is, I guess, having been there ourselves.
Yes,
we know
what it is,
and it's nice to have it there in one place, like this.
Exactly, and I think that really makes a change also for all of us in PPF. That there is this place where this web page where we can send our clients and they can get information.
It's great. I'm going to ask you one last question. You've been on a long journey here in Finland.
I would say so too.
So after 20 years, how does it feel to be a practicing psychologist and psychotherapist here now?
It feels, as you said, as a very long journey. But at the same time, a rewarding journey. And now I would really want to support others and help other people to give, also to help them in the process, to give that hope that is possible. It's possible to get there, because I know that there are all these moments of loneliness, of giving up, of somebody telling you, why don't you study something else? Yes. So now I know that I'm in a privileged position now, when I am registered and I'm a psychotherapist and I have all this work, and I know many professionals, migrants and Finns. So what can we do to help other people to get there also?
And to perhaps make the journey just a little bit more bearable.
Exactly. That maybe it doesn't need to be so long, maybe it doesn't need to be so lonely, especially.
Okay, well, I think that's the end of the interview. Thank you so much, Ruth, for coming today and for doing this whole interview.
Thank you so much, Hatty. It was great.
Good.